Class-based views in Django is very important because it uses OOP as well as it helps in reducing the number of lines of code. So let's learn that in this video. Without wasting any further time, let's get started. Well, hi, I am Shubham and subscribe to become a better software developer. So first question is, what are class-based views, or also called as CBV? They allow you to respond with different types of HTTP requests with different type of class instance method, instead of conditionally defining all the different methods in the function based view. So why do you want to use class based views? First of all, they help in organization of the code, which means better readability of the code. Secondly, reusability. In class based views, we can create a generic function or generic class, and that can be used to show different types of objects. Thirdly, extensibility, which means we can create a generic mixin and then we can inherit it in all the different classes, and that will be helpful in reusability of the code. So without wasting any further time, let's get started. What we'll do is we'll create a new file. I'll call it as again views, but here I'll call it as cbv.py, which means class based views. We'll start with a simple one where we are going to show a simple message and then further move to the complex ones. So for that, we'll have to import from Django.views. Actually, it is from Django.views import view actually. So first one is we'll do is get view. Okay, this is the name of the class. You can write anything for the name. I like using anything that is meaningful, then separated by followed by the view or view set, whatever we are using. Okay, so here we need to inherit view because it has lots of functions, methods, and that is helpful actually. And here we'll define our get method. Okay, so def get, and in this one we are going to take in self and request. And here we'll do is HTTP response and we'll return a message. Okay, we'll say hello world. And of course we need to import this HTTP response. So from Django.http import HTTP response. Okay, actually we need to fix this, so this is fixed. Let me format the document and quickly let's recap. What we have done is we have defined a class called as getView that inherits this view which is coming from Django views, and then in this we have defined a method which is called as get, and it takes in self comma request. It is similar to this function based views, just instead of just defining the function, we have defined a class, and inside that we have defined a function, okay, or method, and in that we are returning with the same message hello world with HTTP response. Let's save this, and in order to create a URL for this, it is little different, but it is as simple as the older ones. So we'll import view_cbv, and what I'll do is I'll give it a path will be called as get-view, and we'll again pass the method or a class over here. So it will be coming from view.cbv, and it is get view, right? And over here we have to put a dot and as view. Okay, this is the extra thing that we have to do when we are using class based views. And name, of course we need to give any name, so I'll give it as get view. Let's save this. Make sure your environment is running. My environment is running because I can check it over here. And what we'll do is python manage.py. Actually I need to navigate inside the directory, so python manage.py run server, and I'll copy this one. Let's go to the browser, refresh the page. If we go to get view, as you can see it is printing hello world. Let me zoom in, and you know what, let's put a front slash over here. You might be wondering why I'm putting this front slash. Right now when we are using get or just taking get functions, get methods, it is not really important. But when we move to post views, which means like receiving data from the forms, that time this front slash is very important, because when we submit data it will start throwing us error and it will redirect to front slash. So that's why we should like define this. Okay, now we have simply used a class page view where we are sending a message, but how if we want to use more of class? So what we can do is define a message variable over here, and in this one what we can see is hello world from, let's do it as class based view. So in order to access this message, and we want to return it from here, correct? I'll do is copy paste comment this one because I want to show you. So that's why we can replace this by saying self dot message. That means self means whatever is there in the class, and then message means this message variable. Make sure that whatever variable you are using should be different from the internal or predefined variables, because it will be replaced and there will be lots of issues and consequences later on. So because of that we want to do this. And if I go back and refresh the page, as you can see it is coming. What happened over here is when get method is called, this method is called, and in this method what we do is we are returning HTTP response where we are returning self.message. Self will be like the entire class, and from that this message, and this message is hello world from the CBV. So that's why we are getting hello world from CBV over here. And in the real world we know that Python has brought up the async method, as well as Django has brought up the async. So in order to use async, we will do is we will copy the same one, paste it, and instead of get view I will say async view. Okay, async view. We can use the same thing, but over here when we define any method we have to say async def get. Okay, when we use async we should have something in the method or function that should be like await. So let's do await, and I'll do is asyncio dot sleep, so that it sleeps for 1 second. And this is just for demonstration purpose, so that I can show you we can use this async feature also in Django and how we can use it. So that's why I'm doing this. Okay, so we need to import asyncio. Let's save, and we'll again go to our URLs of blog, and let me copy paste it. This will be actually helpful. And async view, get async view, and I'll change the name over here also to get async view. So now let's go to the browser and check it out if it works or not. So it is async over here. Let's rename this. In async view. Let's refresh the page, and it takes a 1 second. If you can see, there is 1 second delay over here, and then it loads the data. Just to explain it again, I'll go to async over here, and you can see there is 1 second of delay, and then data is loaded because we have put it on await asleep. Okay, so that's why that. So this is how we can even use async in Django with class-based views. Now let's move to the place where we want to get data from the user, as in like post view. For that, in the previous video what we had done is we had created this method, and in this method we were checking if method is post and then do something, otherwise return with this where it used to be get. So when we are using class based views, we don't need to do all these things. Okay, all these things. So in class-based views, what we can do is we can define post method just like this get method separately, and Django will automatically send the data only in post when there is data submitted from the front-end side, and whenever data is requested from the front-end side, it will send only get method. So that is very easy, and it is very readable as compared to how we were doing it over here in function-based views. So let's create a new class. I'll call it as get post view because it has both, and in this one we can use view. So first of all, let's define our get method. It will take in self request, and what we'll do is we'll return, as of now we'll return a message. Okay, and we'll also create post view. So self comma request, and in this one we can do extra things like star arguments and also star keyword args. And whatever you want over here, you can do your things like writing your logic. For now, what I'll do is request.data.dict. I'll just print this, and then again we'll return something. Okay, this is simply to make you understand that how it works. Okay, and then I'm going to write complex things over here, so be ready for that. We'll take this, we'll go to URLs, actually copy paste this one, and instead of async we are going to say get post view, and over here also we'll do get post, and that's it done. Now if we go to get post view, as you can see it is giving me hello world. That is correct, but let's go to our Thunder client, create a new request where, let me show you first with get only, and then we'll do with post. Okay, so I'll paste it over here, send. As you can see it is giving me hello world, but when I change it to post method and if I click on send, as you can see it is giving me forbidden error. Correct, this is because we are not passing the CRF token. When we use forms and forms.py, CRF token will be passed, but by using this endpoint it is not working. And for this, when you create actually endpoints as in like API, we need to use DRF, and that is whole other world. Okay, so I'll create a series for that also soon, but right now in order to bypass this, we'll again use exempt CSRF or CSRF exempt. And in order to use that in class-based views, it is little different. I'll show you first and then we'll do all the imports. Okay, so method decorator, and in this one we will pass CSRF exempt, and name will be equal to dispatch. Just remember this because this is how it is. Okay, so let me import all of them from django.utils.decorator, import method decorator. Okay, so this is done. Now let's import the CSRF exempt. I'll copy it from here, save, and if we go back over here and click on send, it is saying internal error because we are not passing anything in the data, or actually data is not defined. Okay, so let me for now comment it out, and we'll do is send, and as you can see hello world from the post. So which means, let me close other ones. When we send a post request, it went to this and automatically returned with whatever is present in the def post, which means method post, and whenever we do get request, it only takes this. So which is a very good thing of class-based views, and also it helps in readability as compared to the older one. Let me format this. Now what if you want to pass the message just like this? Okay, so we'll copy it from here, paste it, and then we'll return the message from here. It will be the same thing if I do, actually for get we'll use the browser, as you can see it is working, and for post we'll use this. Okay, now these are fine, but what if you want to render HTML file? So for that we can also do it from the class-based views also. For that what we'll do is we'll define a variable template, we'll call it as template, and inside that we are going to pass whatever the HTML file is there. So I want to pass is index.html, and while we do get request, right, we want to render that. I'll copy paste this, comment the older one, and we'll do is render. And in this one we are going to pass request. It is same, render will take in request and whatever the template name is there. So for template name we are going to use self.template because that is where we have defined our template name. Let's save this. Actually we need to input the render, so let me go back to the older one and we'll copy this one. I'll paste it. Okay, remove the redirect. Actually let's keep the redirect, we'll use it in the post view. Let's go to the browser, and if we refresh, something has changed. Over here also something has changed. That is because now it is using the index.html. and how we can define that, you can say over here from HTML file. Let's save this, refresh the page, and as you can see it is working. Now rendering these things were fine, but what if we want to render the name and work? So for that again we'll do is, instead of this message we'll do is name, and over here we'll pass it as context dictionary. You can either define it over here, I'll call it as data, and in data we can do is name, where name is equal to self.name, and we can pass this data. Okay, let's call, instead of this we'll call it as Shubham Jha. Refresh the page, and as you can see it is working. What we have done is we have defined a method, or basically attribute of the class, which is called as name, and that has some value. And in the get method, right, we have defined a variable called as data, which is a dictionary, or in general we call it as context dictionary. Pass the name as self.name because it can be picked from here, and then pass this data in the renderer or render. So this is how we can do that. Now what if we want to receive data in the post view? This clearly did not work because I made a slightly mistake. I'll undo this and we'll say is post, and we'll see if it works. Okay, I'll pass name from here as Shubham, and if we click on post, as you can see this worked, and name is Shubham because we have put a print over here. So that means it is working. Now what we want to do is we want to check and do some conditional based redirect, etc. Okay, this for you, this will be like doing saving data to the database and then redirecting to the next view. So for that I'll do is request.post.get, I'll call it as name. If there is anything called as name, then I'll do is return http response redirect. I had done is redirect. Okay, http response redirect. I'm going to import this one and use it over here, and in this one we are going to pass it to old dash, let's find a URL, we'll send it to get view. So what we have done is in post view, right, we check for something called as name. If it exists, you can do your logic over here, and then we redirect it to get view. Although this won't really work in our situation because we are using this and it won't really work properly, but this is how we can do it. Okay, now in this, right, we have loaded a template, and to load a template, or basically to show a template, this was like too much of code. So in order to avoid this, what Django has done is it has given us with something default, and we can use that. So first we'll import that, and I'll call it as from django.views.generic import template view, right, and then we'll create a class. So class, I'll call it as index view. This will take in the template view which we have just now imported, and in this one all we have to do is specify template name. Let's say index.html. Save it. We'll go to urls.py, copy paste, and we'll say index view. I'll copy paste it over here, and of course we need to make this change over here, index view, and make sure you put as view over here because it is important, otherwise it won't work. And let's go to index view, and as you can see, it is working. In order to load the template, right, all we did is we created a class, we inherited this template view, and we specified template name over here, and that's it. It worked. Now this was fine. But what if you wanted to load this index.html, or basically load this template? We wanted user to be logged in. So for that, there is simpler way to do it. Instead of writing huge blocks of code, all we need to do is inherit over here LoginRequiredMixin. Okay, LoginRequiredMixin, and we'll import it. So it will come from auth.mixins import LoginRequiredMixin, and we'll close this one, actually comment this one. Let me do this, and I'll remove this. I don't like extra imports, so that's why I'm removing this. And as you can see, this is how we have done. We have defined a class index view, template view it takes in, or it inherits with template view, as well as LoginRequiredMixin. And if we go to the browser and refresh this, actually it is working. Am I logged in? Since I have not defined the login and sign out URL, so that's why it is working right now. But when we define the login and sign up URLs, it should be working. Okay, so that was about this. Now you might have one question. Actually, I have one suggestion for you. We might not really know how many more these kinds of mixins are available or classes are available. So for that, there is one website. Let me actually go to the website. That website is called as cbv.co.uk. okay, and it has everything that you need, like all the different types of classes and mixins and everything. Like even this LoginRequiredMixin is there. Let me zoom in. And when we see like list ones, these are the classes, those are available. And when we see generic ones, as you can see in the generic ones, there is redirect view, then template view, which we just use, then normal view, which we just use. Then when we do CRUD operations, right, we have this create view, delete view, form view, update view. So these helps us in reducing the code. So this is one of the website that is very important for you, and it will come in handy for you. And even we can like change the different versions of Django, and you will get different classes, those are available. And when we click on this, right, template view, as you can see, all the attributes are present, like extra contact, HTTP, these response classes. We had used this template name, correct? So that is present over here. And if we go to just to view, right, let me go to generic again. Why this is not working? Okay, when we go to just view, as you can see, we can define every method by using just this, because over here HTTP method names allowed are get post, all these ones, correct? When we for example, if we go to, let's say, detailed view, okay, actually let's go to the list view, and in this one these are all the attributes available, and then these are the methods available that we can override. And actually this website is really helpful. Whenever I am using Django, right, whenever I am coding for Django, I actually keep this website handy open, and I can refer it and then use it. Okay, so that's it for this video, guys. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.